Alrighty, well, hey, howdy, hi, my Lot Pod buddies. Thank you so much for tuning in on today's episode. Let's dive into Vo2 Max. Now, this was a pretty hot topic about a year or so ago. I want to bring it back up. It's kind of still a neat thing, especially if you're getting into running. I know a lot of us will kind of look into all the things. It's fun to just kind of dive into your next hobby or whatever it is that you're interested in or when you're learning something new. So Vo2 Max, very interesting. Always kind of, it will come up and you'll hear pro people talk about it or they're getting tested or this and that. Anyway, I will add, no, I am not a coach or certified doctorate or nutritionist or anything like that. So FYI, I've just kind of done a bunch of research like we like to do again when we get excited about things and want to learn things. Watched, listened, read a whole bunch of things, kind of congested it or combined it here for a more digestible bite for you, hopefully. That's the goal anyway. So Vo2 Max, it's kind of like the size of your engine in a way, like if we're going to do which is a pretty common metaphor. So like if our bodies are like in a car, our engine or our heart, you can think of it as, different cars race for different things and they're tuned a different way. A 400-meter track star is going to be different than a 100K, pro trail runner. The engines are tuned differently. But as we get into Vo2 Max, we also need to understand the terms aerobic and anaerobic because it has a lot to do with oxygen. So aerobic is with oxygen. Anaerobic is without oxygen or it's depleted. So aerobic is the state where your body can still intake oxygen and kind of put it to use, get it into your blood, into your muscles, and it goes into your mitochondria, the powerhouse. And the rate, it's almost kind of an endless setup. Like you can bring in oxygen and then transport it and use it at a efficient kind of steady flow. Where anaerobic is where you're depleting your oxygen faster than your body can fill the tank back up, to say. So you're using other energy stores in your cells and everything, and it produces lactate faster and quicker than your body can get rid of it. So simply, aerobic is with oxygen and anaerobic is lacking oxygen. Since we're talking about our body's ability to use oxygen, all this VO2 talk is a aerobic discussion, right? In that kind of realm, right? All right. So moving on. Why is this important to runners or trail running? Well, because trail runners or any long distance kind of endurance athlete doing something longer than about 5 or 3 minutes will be relying on your aerobic energy system. You have a greater and more efficient aerobic energy system, then you can run longer at a faster pace. You can run long depending on your pace. You can, that's the difference from sprinting and a brisk walk or jog. So if you can increase your VO2 max or your body's efficiency in that energy system, then the max of your pace, right, or your speed can get faster, but you can still continue to not burn up so fast in a way, right? So what is it, right? So the maximum amount of oxygen that can be consumed in 1 minute. If you've seen the clips or like a picture and somebody's on a treadmill and they've got that thing wrapped around their face and their, tubes coming out of it and thing, and they've got heart monitors and stuff, that's usually they're getting a VO2 max test, and it's tested by like liters, per minute, I think. It also has to do with your body weight. We'll kind of touch on that as well. But so when your body is delivering as much oxygen as possible as it can to your tissues, your soft tissue, your muscle, then you are at your VO2 max. It kind of plateaus. So how is it measured? Well, it's measured in milliliters of oxygen per kilogram of weight per minute. So that's kind of, again, the definition of it, I believe, is exactly just the maximum amount of oxygen that can be consumed in 1 minute. The formula for that is milliliters of oxygen per kilogram of weight per minute. Now, that's a rough because everybody's different. This kind of got brought up a lot. Well, of course, we're all different. Our body uses different systems. That doesn't mean if you can breathe in a lot of oxygen or you have really big lungs, but if your system cannot deliver it properly, not properly, or as efficient, or you don't have as much uptake of the oxygen into the mitochondria, or your heart stroke rate, like the pump volume is smaller in others than some people. If I can remember, I'll just say it now. Looking into this, I researched and read everything, and I cannot remember. It was like a 4 or 5 word part thing that this doctor referred to, but there's a situation where high end performing athletes in whatever sport they do, could be rowing or cross country skiing or anything, but they will come to an issue where their hearts are so strong that they pump faster than the full amount of blood can be filled up. So in a way, they're kind of hindering themselves. We'll call it, if 100% of blood is getting pumped every pump, once they get going and their heart rate gets up, it's not filling up back to 100% before it pumps it down again. So it's supplying the blood, but it's not giving it enough time to fill up like a lot of the amount of blood it could. So then it has less oxygen in the blood. So it's a weird situation. But I cannot remember the name of it. Some super smart science kind of doctor breakdown. But it's like, wow, you can get your heart too strong where it pumps too fast for it to get like filled up. Anyway, so why is there a V, and what does it mean? O2, where does this come from? The V means rate per minute. So like we just discussed, this is the amount of oxygen can be consumed, or milliliter per minute. V is per minute, and O2 means oxygen, kind of like H2O. So how is this useful? Again, why are we looking into this? It is useful for yourself, but again, to compare yourselves to others, it's not exact. Overall muscle mass is a factor again. So I mentioned rowers or like CrossFit guys versus like a cross country person. Your weight is different because we have fat and muscle mass also. So more muscle that you have, the more oxygen it needs to be brought to it. So the bigger an engine is, the more gas it consumes. So it could sound bigger. I have a V8. Well, I have a 4-cylinder, then it's like super tuned up and efficient, and they're gonna go just as fast as whatever. Again, it's not. I wouldn't compare your VO2 max to others in that realm. But to yourself, it's a great way to kind of track your own fitness journey in your fitness, and as we try to better ourselves. In that same kind of that thought, as we do work on ourselves and better ourselves, it's easy to become kind of blind to others' needs or show a sort of selfishness more than we ought to, right? And I've been guilty of that lately, thinking about it, especially with Thanksgiving's around the corner. I have a verse from the book of Philippians that really connects with this and kind of brings up the common flaw that we all fall into. So Philippians, great book. Paul's writing to the church of Philippi. This is Philippians 2-4. It reads, "Complete my joy by being of the same mind, having the same love, being in full accord and on one mind. Do nothing from selfish ambition or conceit, but in humility count others more significant than yourselves. Let each of you look not only to his own interest, but also to the interest of others." Again, it's good to be enjoying the blessings we have around us, but don't forget you can be a blessing to others, and we're supposed to love our neighbor, right, and share that. So how does a person increase their VO2 max? Okay, Frank, you've told me all this stuff and rattled on about a bunch of things, and that's interesting. So I need a lot of oxygen. I need my heart to be strong. Okay, how do I get a better VO2 max then? If we go back to our engine analogy, then we need to be kind of flirting with the red line on our gauges. If you run at your threshold kind of heart rate range, somewhere on the edge of your aerobic and anaerobic systems, you will start to raise that ceiling. You're flirting with the edge of both of those aerobic and anaerobic, kind of getting in and out, and it kind of keeps kind of bumping that max or bumping that ceiling. That's the best way I can think of it. If it's just slowly raising it. So it's your threshold limit isn't increasing. It's the max of your VO2, right? Or your oxygen per minute into your body. Guys, that's it. I know it was a lot real fast, but that's why I kind of like these short, quick topic episodes to be like. Thank you so much. Don't forget, we do have a Facebook page, the Light on the Trail Facebook page. There's also the Instagram is fun, the YouTube as well. If you haven't seen there, when I do get to interview somebody over the computer here, I usually have the video up for it as well. So there's a couple actual videos as well as just the audio, again, of the podcast, but like the interview with Charlie Gandy's on there, and that's real fun. If you have any questions or ideas, or you want to be on the show, I've just reached out to a bunch of coaches recently. I'm going to have them on, and they can kind of hopefully explain things a lot better than I do, and we kind of get to pick their brains. And, with 2025 coming up, some people may be looking for coaches or looking for new fueling ideas and all this kind of stuff. So email to fullsteamaudio@outlook.com or Frank C, letter C, at lotrunning.com, LOTT running.com. All right, guys, thank you so much. This has been the Lot on the Trail podcast.